Hello everyone. Our topic for today is healthy boundaries. My name is Rabab Allah. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and international life coach. Tell me, where are you joining me from? Type down the city you live in. I will go ahead and share my live with other pages, with my pages, and we will start shortly. Okay, so first I wanna say a disclaimer that these lives are meant to be general info only. They are not meant to be medical or therapeutic advice, and they do not replace professional help. I also want to mention that this live will be the last before I take a pause until June 19th. So I will reconvene on this weekly Tuesday lives on June 19th, and I will take a pause between now and the 19th, so stay tuned for that. So back to healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries mean, what does that mean? It means the space, the healthy space that you hold between you and the other person. It's the space between you and where the other person ends. And this is important to identify that, because it means that you are holding a space, you're taking good care of yourself. It's very important emotionally and mentally to have these boundaries. And we want to understand that some people have strict, rigid boundaries, and some people, and it's like a gray area between that and loose boundaries. And some people don't have boundaries at all, which means that they don't have sense of identity, or they are enmeshed with someone else or other people. So it's important to define that for yourself. Setting boundaries is very important, because by doing that, you're actually identifying your own identity. You're actually identifying what you are responsible for and what you are not responsible for. And also, you define yourself. This is my space. Those are my boundaries. This is what I can do, and this is what I cannot do. So it's very important to have healthy emotional and mental boundaries, also physical. So if you are at work and someone is so touchy-feely, you want to set your boundaries and say what you accept and what you don't accept, for you to be safe, to feel safe physically, emotionally, and mentally. So setting boundaries actually gives the person sense of fulfillment and self of empowerment, because you know how to protect yourself, how to protect your space, if you will. Lack of healthy boundaries creates a lot of issues, creates stress, draining, wastes time and money. It's negative on all levels. So sense of autonomy is very important, and it's indication of a self-care. It's very important for us to set our own boundaries. For instance, let's take an example of the teacher-student relationship. So the teacher might decide that she will not share her personal life with her students, and that's boundary. The teacher might decide that I will be concerned as a teacher with my students' work, but I will not be concerned about their lives outside of the classroom, because that's not my area. If there is an issue, then I will involve someone else, like a counselor. A teacher might, in the beginning of the year, for instance, will tell her students what's comfortable for her, what's not comfortable, what's accepted, what's not. And that's setting boundaries, letting the other person know what's okay with you and what's not okay with you. Also, this applies to romantic relationships. It's important to tell your partner or your spouse your boundaries. For instance, you want one night a week for yourself, just for yourself. You don't want their company, because you want to just reconnect with yourself, you want to relax, you want to practice self-care. That's autonomy. Those are boundaries. Also, for instance, for a new mother, for instance, she will ask her spouse to take care of the baby, for instance, on certain nights, to put them to bed, feed them, or bathe them. That's also boundaries. She's telling the person what she will do and what she will not do. Boundaries can also be between parents and children. So maybe a parent will tell his or her child, if you see my room door closed, please knock it. Knock before you enter the room. This is boundary. This is setting boundaries with the children. So we can set boundaries with everyone around us, with a spouse, with a child, with a friend, a coworker. So it's very important for your self-care to set these boundaries. Okay, so how to set boundaries? First of all, we want to examine the already existing boundaries, the boundaries that already exist. Do you feel comfortable with them? Do you think there is a certain relationship that causes you stress or anxiety and you don't know why? So you want to pause and you want to think about your feelings. Why am I feeling anxious? What is it about this relationship or this encounter that's making me feel uncomfortable? Then we need to set the boundaries. We need to re-examine them and see what works and what doesn't work for you. Also, saying no. Simply saying no to something that you don't want to do, without having the urge to explain why. I just cannot do it. I'm unavailable. You don't have to explain and give a whole story around why you are saying no. Simply because you don't want to do it. Because this will drain you. You don't like doing that, or whatever the reason is, but you don't have to explain it to the person. You can just say respectfully, you can say no. Another point is to focus on yourself, except focusing on the other people. So instead of telling someone, I don't want to see you after work because you actually bother me, you want to say maybe, I need some time for myself after work. So I'm not going to hang out with you after work because I need time for myself. So you are actually focusing on your own self and your feelings. Hey Khadija, hey Jenny, thank you for joining. So you want to focus on your own self instead of focusing on the other people's feelings. Also, setting boundaries is impossible without consequences. So if you are in an unhealthy relationship, dysfunctional relationship, for instance, and you say, you need to respect my career goal if you would like this relationship to continue, or otherwise I cannot continue, I will end it. So that there are always consequences to the boundaries. Not necessarily severing the relationship, but there are consequences when you cross my boundaries. Maybe I will distance yourself, or maybe I will confront you or talk with you, or maybe I will try to enjoy another activity than spending time with the person who is crossing my boundaries. Setting the boundaries is very important for our mental health and physical health and emotional health. So we need first to focus on our feelings, to be in tune with what's happening inside of us. How are we feeling? We need to examine the limits around us. Are we comfortable with what's happening, or do we need to set more limits with people? And sometimes we need to be direct. So sometimes in certain families or cultures, setting boundaries is not that familiar, or people maybe don't know that they have the right to set boundaries. Or maybe I will feel guilty. I will not be a good daughter or a good son or good wife or a husband if I set boundaries. So we need to examine that and see how we feel about it. Are we drained? Do we feel we're out of energy? Do we feel that someone is taking advantage of us? Regardless how close that person to us, part of our family or friend, whatever. Do we feel that we are so stressed around that person, and why? We need to examine that and see what can we do or stop doing in order to feel better in this relationship. We need to give ourselves permission to say no when necessary. Sometimes we need to say no. Simply no, I can't do that. I'm unavailable. We need to understand that the giver is the one who's supposed to set boundaries, because the taker will not set limit for what he is or she is taking. So the burden is on the giver to set those boundaries and decide what he will she give or won't give. We cannot wait for the receiver to set those limits, because they won't. They are happy with what they are getting. So the burden is on the giver to set these boundaries. We need to be self-aware, to understand what's going on inside of us again, our feelings. And to understand that self-care needs to be a priority. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. We need to put the oxygen mask on us first before putting it on someone else. Because if we don't help ourselves, we can't help someone else. So we need to start with ourselves first. And if we can't do it on our own, seeking help might help. A coach or a therapist can help us, will help us to set those boundaries or examine what's happening in our life. Also, being assertive, not aggressive, assertive. So I can set boundaries respectfully in a very civil way by being consistent. If I don't like doing something, I need to be consistent with it. I cannot say no today and yes tomorrow and maybe the day after. Then I am not being consistent. Consistency and in setting boundaries help protect ourselves. And if it's so difficult, you can start with small things. Don't make it a big task on you. You can start with saying no for certain things in your life and then expand it. But once you start and you enjoy that empowerment, that you're empowered, I can say no, I can set boundaries, I can assert myself. It's a joy. You feel empowered. You feel that you are healthier, less stressed, confident. You feel your identity, you are setting your identity. You feel your self-worth. And people will start to look at you differently, because there are boundaries now. They cannot walk all over you. It's important to understand our self-worth. And self-care needs to be a priority. Thank you for joining me. If you like that live, please hit like, share this video. Someone needs to listen to it. And if you would like to connect with me, I will put in the comments a link to my website and the YouTube channel. Again, a reminder, I will have a pause on this live until June 19th. And until then, I wish you a wonderful, happy days and enjoy the time to come and the nice weather, and have a wonderful night. Thank you.